Hey guys, welcome to the VH Commodore review. Now, if you were lucky enough to see the 0 to 60 episode we did on this, it is just an absolute weapon, and it's far from stock, which is why we thought we'd have a proper look at it and show really what's been done to it and why it performed how it did. Now, before I get into that, because I know we've got a lot of viewers from the States and the UK, I just wanted to mention how special these things are in Australia. They really are a piece of Australian history. So the Commodore was released in 1978 and it was called the Holden VB Commodore. It was a huge change from the old Kingswoods that it replaced, and it was a much smaller, much lighter body. I always sort of think of these, and it's probably not fair, but I always think of them as the Australian Fox body Mustang. This is when Holden became sort of a mass market type car, and the manufacturing costs went down and performance went up because of it. So looking at this one, it is a relatively standard VH model. The only thing that has changed, it is sporting the VK clear corner lights. It has obviously got the huge cowl on the bonnet, which has become a bit of a standard thing for people that are hot rodding this generation Commodore. I think it looks cool, it looks tough. And of course, matched with the drag style wheels, it has got proper weld wheels on it. It gives it a certain street presence that really only equates to a Commodore. Okay, now with this car, let's start where the main business is, at the engine. And I'll just get the bonnet opened up. And opening the bonnet is a two-man job. It's not a carbon fibre bonnet. It feels like it weighs about 50 kilos. Okay, so the Holden 308. Now, the 308 is a different engine to a Chev, and it is really Holden's own motor. This engine, oh god, I remember growing up, everyone wanted 308. They were the ones to have, and of course 308 cubic inches, which means it's just over 5 litres. This one, however, has been stroked. It's currently running a 355 stroker crank. I believe it's a scat crank from memory. It has got scat rods and also SRP high comp pistons. That matched with the B casting heads. It has got a set of extractors, an Edelbrock manifold, and a Demon 750 double pumper. It's currently running a Crane ignition system. The owner is planning to change that out to a full MSD ignition system, but that's how it sits currently. And it is a torquey little bit of kit. They're not they don't rev like modern engines, but the power really comes in nice and early, and it's a weapon of a street car. It is so much fun. Let's cut to a quick pull. Okay, now what is paired to the engine is a Trimatic. The Trimatic was the original auto that was in these vehicles from new. However, this one has definitely had some work done to it. It's got a manualized shifter, and it's obviously been built as well. You'll see in the videos how aggressive it shifts. It is awesome. Unfortunately, we haven't got the specs on what has been done to the transmission because it was done before the current owner got the vehicle. Okay, and between the transmission and the rear wheels, we have a 10-bolt rear diff, which was really the best diff you could get when these things were new, but it has got a different center. It's got a weld center from memory, which has got 6 spider gears, which I recently learned. But yeah, it's a very strong, very tight LSD. The more force you put through it, the tighter the limited slip is. Now, fuel system. Unlike these modern cars that have lots of fuel injectors that have quite a complex system, this is about as basic as it can get. We've got a 76-litre fuel cell. Connected to that is a Holly Blue style fuel pump. These things, although they run relatively low pressure, like 6 to 8 psi, it does literally sound like there's a Toyota Prius in the boot. It makes so much noise. In fact, I'll show you what that sounds like now. This is how loud the fuel pump is. And now the other thing that's going on in the boot is the battery relocation. Now, the current owner did move the battery to the boot, and it was with the intention of sorting out the engine bay, just tidying it up, and which is why you can see the engine bay looks relatively clean. Something I haven't touched on yet, but this car is a work in progress. The main reason the owner's got it is to use it. So he's continually modifying it. He wants to tidy up things. He's going to get it repainted eventually, get all the rubbers replaced, and really make it a nice car. But for now, he just wants to use it. I think we need to hop inside and have a quick look at what's going on in there. Okay, so the interior is relatively standard. It is the lovely blue trim, which I can only just imagine must have been fashionable in the early 80s. As far as amenities go, it's got nothing, and you wouldn't believe it, this wasn't the base model. Even these velour seats were an option. Carpet definitely wasn't standard back then. It is fitted with an original AM radio, which still works. I know I'm not going to try it. And the only other thing that has changed from standard are the gauges, and that's just so that the owner can keep an eye on what's going on with the engine. The engine was quite an expensive build. I can't remember exactly, but it was more than I would have liked to have paid. And yeah, you need to be aware of what's going on with it. They are Autometer C2 gauges, and he's just got them monitoring the vitals, water temp, oil pressure, fuel pressure, RPM, and he has got a fuel gauge in here as well. Even though the auto is fully manualised, it's still running a standard shifter, so you can't bang it through the gears like if it had a B&M. But this isn't a full street car. This isn't a full race car. He wants to be able to drive it, and for it to look sort of original when he's cruising around, not too race car-y, even though it sounds like pure insanity. In fact, let's start it up. So there's a bit of a process to start these old engines with the big 750 double pumpers, and that is, you need to ignition on, fuel pump on. There's that holly blue again. Fuel pump on. We can see that we've got fuel pressure. We'll go 2 full pumps, and she should fire straight up. There it is. Once it's fired up, fuel pump back on, and turbo fans on. That's it. I think it's time to go for a drive. So yeah, it's actually moving it around in the car park and that sort of thing. Although it's got the cam, it's pretty well behaved. It's not too bad, but it's definitely no. Well, yeah, you know she's had some work done to it. The biggest thing that gets me with this car is the way it drives with the Trimatic with the manualised shifter and that torque converter. I'm sure you can pick it up on the video, but you'll hear the revs come up and they just sort of level out, but the car keeps accelerating. And it's just that torque converter slipping. But I've probably spent half an hour driving this now, and it doesn't take too long to get your head around what's going on. You can tell even during the runs, which if you haven't seen the 0 to 60 episode, you should. But when it's under power, trying to go quick, the gearbox just... So I can't help it. It's like, it just comes into its own. All of a sudden the shift's just super smooth, super quick. It's a damn good box. Yeah, so... One thing that the owner mentioned about with this car is why he's got it, and he's bought it as a car to use on weekends, go to car shows, and enjoy driving an Aussie classic with the performance of a modern car. Yeah. But he didn't want to worry about, having a show car that he didn't want to walk away from. So he's quite comfortable going to shopping centres, car parks, and even at car shows. He said, I don't need to stress about someone scratching it. The reason he has this car, the reason it's in this condition, is for pure driving pleasure, and he's nailed it. Yeah, that's well done. It's a perfect car for that, especially here in Australia. At car shows, even the amount we've been driving around the street, everybody looks. The amount of attention this thing gets is phenomenal. Yeah, as we mentioned at the start of the video, the Holden Commodore is an Aussie icon. It's a real shame that it's come to an end. And when you see something like this that looks really cool, sounds insane. Oh my, that was neck snapping. That hooked up then. It did. Wow. The tyres are weird. Even I like how the interior is still so original. It is. Even the gear, all that work's been done in the gearbox, but it's still got the original shifter. Yeah, when this car's not running, it looks, apart from the cowl on the bonnet, it's a pretty standard looking car. Actually, as I've said that, I've just glanced down at the Monster Taco. But yeah, I mean, lots of cars have got them. It's even got the AM radio. There's a couple of things with the car that you do notice, like all of the gauges, but I mean, you really want them in here, don't you? You do, and I mean, it's not full of gauges. They're really just oil pressure, water temp, fuel pressure, and fuel level. And that's because he's got the fuel cell in the boot. That's why he's not using the standard fuel gauge. The owner was saying that he's not going to keep them though, is he? He's going to go to a race pack dash just to try and tidy up the interior a little bit. And with the new ignition system that's going on, the MSD, he's going to have a little bit more information available about what's going on with the way the engine's running. And he's really doing it just to a cleaner look. The days of the white Monster Tacos, they're not quite in fashion like they used to be. Yes, but I mean, I still like the look. It suits this car. It suits this era of muscle car. It does. look, driving around town, it is very noisy, but it is definitely usable. This car is manual steering, no power steering.
Yeah. He's also put the VT front brakes on, hasn't he?
And it has got VT front brakes. It pulls up okay. Like when we're doing the runs, it stops fine, but it does seem to require a bit more pedal pressure than a modern car. It has got power assisted brakes. Dude, it's a naughty car to drive around.
I miss that sheer raw V8 engine.
I do wish it had air conditioning.
Yeah, it's not even any AC. It had a heater delete as well.
Alright, so we are just cruising around in this. If you want to see what this goes like when there's some anger behind the wheel, please check out the 0 to 100 episode that we did. I think that's going to wrap it up. This has just been such a fun car to have for the weekend.
I kind of don't want the video to end. I'm loving cruising in this thing.
I'm going to keep driving. I'm taking it home tonight. Alright guys. If you've enjoyed it, if you like Aussie V8s, give it a thumbs up. We're going to catch you on the next one.